Oh, somebody else coming in. Ms. Lizzie. Here she comes. Keep us all honest. Good morning. Morning, everybody. Now I'm going to have to ask you how to pronounce your name, darling. I'm so sorry. I'm not that clever. So can you tell us how to pronounce your name? Is it how do you say it? Tamasudi? I'm
Mm.
said that completely wrong. How would I say that?
Timasuri.
Timasudi. Lovely. What a brilliant name. T.
Grandma for Tamara.
Lovely. Very nice. Welcome. It's lovely to see you.
Thank you. Nice to see you.
Yes. So today we're getting very excited because we're about to launch the Backyard Peace Project backend, which we've been working on for a long time to get it really, robust and ready to serve humanity. And so we'll just start by a very quick introduction around the room, and then I'm going to take you for a sneak peek into the back end of what we're building, why we're building it, the impact, the vision, because it's getting exciting now. We're all chomping at the bit, ready to launch and get people in there. So we're really excited to have you all here. So, Tima Sudi, would you like to go first and introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Timasuri. I reside in Port Macquarie, New South Wales, Australia, Australia's best climate. And I now work entirely virtually online. Check me out at timasudi.com.au.
And what do you do?
Small Business Administration, very passionate for small business of Australia.
Beautiful. And what interested you to join the call today?
I guess humanitarian issues or needs or wants, or very passionate as well.
Beautiful. Yeah, we love that. Well, we're all about that here. We're very, very passionate about providing affordable and accessible, high quality support to families that need it. So that's what we've been building the team, a variety of expertise that have been vetted. And that's really important because what we're seeing as well is there's a lot of Facebook support groups, but as professionals, when we're looking at the Facebook support groups, there's so many well intentioned people there giving terrible advice. Because they're not trained, because they've got their own bias, their own trauma that they haven't dealt with, all of that. Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, we're really excited about providing some very high quality support for families, and we feel that there's a need for it, a real big need for it at the moment. So we'll show you around in just a second, but there's a lot of our experts on the call today. So I'd love you to just take a couple of minutes, maybe 2 minutes each, just describing who you are and what your area of expertise is. So, Paul, could we start with you?
Yeah, of course. Hi, I'm Paul Barnett. My work is around the Reconnect method, where we bring people from burnout into empowerment and helping people to break that down through, uh, I guess, breath work, movement, and mindset, bringing in the elements of your body, your internal guidance, but also helping people just to find more ease and peace in their bodies, and then transfer that out into their life. So my big passion around being one of the ambassadors for the Backyard Peace Project is that, specifically, of helping people to feel safe within themselves, to find that peace. And yeah, I'm South Sydney, down in Sylvania, and loving it.
Yeah, beautiful. Thanks, Paul. So excited to get our work started. It's really,
Oh,
really
for
awesome.
sure.
Yeah, definitely. Judy.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Judy Myers, and I reside in South Australia near Cathy, as she mentioned a moment ago. Um, the area that I'm working in currently is around something similar to Paul's, looking at people being able to manage their stress, and particularly in the area of high performance in real estate. So that's a very stressful, emotional area, and a lot of people don't understand the energy systems they're using or not using. They don't know why they get burnout. And it's a roller coaster. So it's about trying to help them identify what it is that's causing their stress and their burnout. And I'm here because I've done a lot of work internationally, and I think that yes, our own backyard, but we also need to be able to spread that out throughout the world, because to me it's very concerning what's happening in our own country, our own backyard, and in the world.
Yeah, I so agree, Judy. And I think as well, there's some moments where I feel actual despair when I look at what's happening. But then I have to refocus and pour into what I believe is part of the solution, is what we're doing here, is pouring our energy and our focus and our intention into building this, which is providing everybody with an alternative pathway that is really supportive, positive, healing, all of those things. So every time I start to go down that rabbit hole, I pull myself back out and think, no, that's why we're creating what we're creating. We need to focus on the solutions to this.
Yeah, otherwise it's too overwhelming.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. So thank you for that. Marie.
Hello, lovely people. Had to start it like that. I am a grief advocate. I much prefer the term grief alchemist these days, because that's exactly what I do. I bring a lot of lightness into the topic of grief. I've been working in this space for close to 8 years now, based on my previous background in coaching, mindset coaching, relationship coaching, and then through the very sudden death of my husband, I pivoted my entire career into the space of grief and helping people find healing and happiness and joy, all the beautiful things that they need the most and expect the least in the space of grief. So I do this through books and talks and retreats and one-on-one and group coaching and workshops. So my latest absolute passion project is bringing the grief literacy workshop into schools, because I feel that school staff and teachers need to learn a different language around grief. And this is my highest priority this week. So that's what I'm working on at the moment. So, yeah. And I love being part of the Peace Project, because, everyone here has got such a beautiful, heartfelt, positive mission. And if we put all of that together, we'll certainly be infusing the world with a lot more peace.
Yes, and of course, you're in the Kids Zone team as well, which we're really excited about, because these are conversations that we need to be having with young people. So yeah, we're really excited about that foundational piece, because I do feel that there's a big gap for kids at the moment, and the conversations that Jennifer and I have had with schools regarding where the gaps are. There are huge gaps in social, emotional, education, experience, regulation, and that's obviously why we're building the Kids Zone curriculum to serve those needs, that schools are so saturated with curriculum that they haven't got the time, such pressure to put food on the table and pay the bills, that they also haven't got a lot of capacity to do that. So it's a real generation of missed opportunity there. Let me do that. Okay. Yes, and that important that I have my echo wherever I go. Yeah. So very excited. Jennifer, she is our key lady in Kids Zone. She has been developing the framework of our leadership program, which is super exciting.
It is, and I've been working on that and recording things, practicing lessons with my, well, you can't see them now, but with my special puppet friends. It's been fun. So anyway, yeah, I'm Jennifer Sharp. I'm an author, a book coach, educator, currently working in publishing. And I guess I love the publishing. It doesn't matter whether you're, a kids writer or an adult writer, there's just power in story. And, helping people get that story out as a part of a healing process is something I absolutely love to do. Why am I here? For so many reasons. I guess it's that healing aspect. And, like you said, Cathy, as an educator, you can see there are so many gaps. And there's gaps in kindness and connection and peace just within schools. And we need that. And that's what this community is all about. So it's being a part of that and extending it and getting it out there, starting with us and then getting it out there globally. And, it's fun and I love it, but there's such a purpose to it. It's an internal and external purpose. Yeah.
And like it's a grassroots movement. I mean, we're really stripping everything back to the foundational pieces upon which we build our lives that are often getting missed. And that's what I'm really excited and passionate about and what I love as well is that every single expert in the community has lived experience. So it's not academic, it's not only academic, like everyone's highly qualified and highly trained, but they've got lived experience as well. And I do feel like in this time of falsehoods, I look at stuff now and I'm like, is that real or is that an AI generated video? Because they're so good, like I'm questioning absolutely everything I'm seeing. And so I feel like this need for genuine, this need for authentic, unpolished in the room. I know I've been in the trench. I know what it's like. I understand your pain. And this, I'm going to show you a roadmap out of that, rather than coming from an academic sort of standpoint. Because as I've said before, if I'm going to visit Greece, I want to talk to someone who's visited Greece, who's felt the cobbled streets beneath their feet and felt the sun on their skin and smelled the spices in the air and the ocean, lapping around their feet. I don't want to talk to someone who's read a guidebook about Greece. And I think that's the real difference at the moment, is like that real authentic movement. And also like the old-fashioned self-help world is actually coming heavily under criticism right now for leaders not actually living their principles, for them, appearing one way on stage and living another way behind the scenes, and it's all being sort of cracked open and it's being exposed for, in some part, a money-making machine, whereas that people don't actually want you to heal, they just want you to keep coming back for more top-ups, right? Whereas as practitioners and as therapists, and Philippa and I are exactly the same on this, when you start working with a client, your goal is to get them to a place where they don't need you anymore. That's the whole goal. Whereas traditional therapies like people to come back week after week because it's money, right? It's ongoing money. And so it's like, if not us, then who? And if not now, then when? Because we need to break down all of those old traditional frameworks and empower the people that come across our paths, because the ripple effect of that is going to be phenomenal. Because if we can bring that person to healing and closer to completeness and, have the nervous system regulated so that they can show up in communication, in conflict, and all of those things in that steady, solid way, then the ripple effect of the people they're going to affect is phenomenal. So that's what really excites me about it. Deirdre.
Hello. I'm Deirdre. I'm in the lower Blue Mountains. It's a little bit chilly today. I work with women specifically in the demographic of over the age of 40 who have lived in service and devotion to their families and their relationships and wake up one day and go, is this it? And they're ready to either stick a fork in their partner or burn the whole relationship to the ground. And I help them to navigate that next season of where to from here. And the reason I do this is purely from the perspective of, I believe that the richest we can ever be in life is in the relationships that we're afforded and connected to. And if we can find ways to be in relationship with people and do no harm and gather people as we move forward in life and assist them to be the best versions of themselves. And that's why I've joined the Backyard Peace Project, is I think predominantly to be a part of community of people who are like-minded around that and are themselves motivated to see the best in humanity come forward. Yeah,
I
and
love
hold
that.
space for people who are still maybe got their training wheels on, but still want to go further and deeper. And yeah, and accessibility, I think at the key, at the core of this is having all of these beautiful opportunities accessible to people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm.
Yeah, and I'm a great believer in that. And I think I said on a call before that my daughter, my eldest, said that she was going to get me a bumper sticker for the car saying "fueled by oat milk and feminine rage," because I think it's not just you hit this point in your life where you sort of look back reflectively of all of the societal programming and the unfair expectations and the double standards and the lies that we were sold and all that sort of thing. You do get a little bit angry. Like you go through that stage where you're like, if I'm lucky, I'm halfway through my life. If I'm lucky,
Yeah.
I don't
Yep.
want to spend the rest of my life doing that, So you definitely hit that point of sort of an awakening as such. Too fast for me. Fueled by oat milk and feminine rage, Marie. That's what it is. That's what my bumper sticker is going to say. So there we go. Yeah, so really important. And oftentimes as well, women, particularly over 50, suddenly become invisible. Where are the films?
Absolutely.
Where are the movies? Where are the
Yeah.
books?
Yeah.
Where's the representation, right?
Mm.
And we're at a time in our lives where we're wise, like we've had experience. We've
Absolutely.
navigated through it. And we've navigated through some interesting times, the 70s, 80s, 90s. We've seen a lot of change in our lifetime, and we've got the foundations, and we've seen what it's like here. And one of the biggest things, excuse me, that Jennifer and Judy and Marie and I and the team for the Kids Zone and Paul are really passionate about is stripping everything back for the kids to that fundamental stuff, because we've lived through all of the stages, right? And one of the biggest things that my kids get so many opportunities because they've got the basic stuff in place. Honesty, hard work, good manners, courtesy, kindness, what I consider to be basic requirements of being human, right? They're non-negotiable in my household. They get the most ridiculous opportunities because, unfortunately, of their generation, it stands out that they're like that because they've got those old-fashioned principles of talking to somebody with respect, of being kind, of being courteous, patient, all of those things. And I think, wow, that's quite sad. The basic stuff is giving them the best opportunities. I mean, I'm not complaining, it's benefiting us, but this should not be the exception.
No,
this should be everybody, So that's something we're really passionate about, is having the time within the leadership curriculum to teach the kids how to interact, how to live in integrity. What does honesty look like? How can we name our emotions? How can we look beyond somebody else's behavior and look to the possible reasons behind that behavior and respond with curiosity and compassion? That's what we're really, really excited about. So yeah, that's all developing as we speak, and we're making some interesting and exciting partnerships behind the scene with that. So that's really cool. Philippa.
Hello.
Hello.
Sorry to be late. I was just finishing with a client.
Okay.
I don't know the questions. I'm just assuming it's who am I? Why am I here? Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Perfect. So who am I? Really hard to answer that question. I have 4 businesses and I am clearly ADHD and have and I do sleep. I promise. I get at least 8 to 10 hours sleep every night. But my passion, so in terms of the Backyard Peace Project, most of the work I do in this space is with parents. So my business, Fantastic Futures, is where I work with parents. So I'm a trauma therapist and a coach, and I have a real heart for supporting mums particularly, but mums and dads to create a fantastic future for our whole world, which means really, parenting in a way that allows for that. And most of us are parenting from our own experience of being parented. Most of us were brought up by behavioralists, and we're trying to be intentional, but when shit hits the fan, so to speak, we go to what's on the inside, and that's the primal, best known stuff from our childhood, which is usually the stuff we're desperately trying not to redo. And so I help parents wipe that stuff so it's not what's in their cup when they get bumped, but also learn new tools, new techniques, new ways of being with their kids and understanding their kids' behavior as communication, etc. So I have a tool that I use for that as well as my therapy work, which is called MumWise, which is really, really, really amazing, and I love it. And it's just super supportive of mums and dads for in the moment when they're not in a therapy session or they're not with a coach, or because it happens at 2 a.m. or it's 7:43 p.m. and they're losing their shit. It helps them in those moments. I have a company that creates those pieces for thought leaders, which is also really exciting because, like you said, Cathy, that whole piece is, we don't have an information issue in the world right now. We have a guidance issue. People don't know who to trust. They don't know who to guide them, but they're also not going to do a course. A course takes too long. They're all too time poor. It's not going to give them what they want in the moment. So I'm helping thought leaders, creators, educators, and so on create their own version of My MumWise, which is super exciting because there's a lot of people out there with a lot of amazing information that's not getting to the people who need it. So yeah, I do a few other things, but that's the bulk of it. Why am I here? Cathy asked me, and I like Cathy, so I thought I'd do that. And I really love the mission behind Backyard Peace Project. I like the idea that if we can just deal with our own shit, we can impact the world in such an amazing way. But we can't do that if we're up to our eyeballs in shit. We just can't. I have a potty mouth. You're going to have to accept it. Sorry. You won't catch me saying the C word though, so you can rest assured on that one.
I say it in a very British accent, and so it sounds very posh.
So it's
and
posh,
so I can do
gotcha.
it. I can do it.
All right.
Yeah, I can do it. And of course, we've brought Philippa into the Kids Own team as well because, we're wanting to get to the parents through the children. So we'll be doing sessions on explaining to the parents what we've been working on with the kids, but also we want to be reaching the teachers and the parents through the children's curriculum. So kind of through the back door, so we're not sort of putting the spotlight on them and trying to make them feel burdened. We want them to feel supported and seen and nourished. So that's very, very exciting and important to us. So thanks, everybody. So what I want to do today is I'm just going to very briefly, so we're going to have a short session today, but I'm just going to take you through to the back end, which we're just finishing off. It should be finished in the next couple of weeks. And at the moment, we're obviously in the pre-launch, which is really exciting. So all of our expert team are going in and testing links, and Marie certainly highlighted something for me yesterday, and now Sloan and Jennifer and Paul have confirmed that. So I'm like, okay, great. It's not just Marie, it's everybody. So we're just checking the tech before we launch. But I thought it would be cool to have a little look in the background on what we're doing. So I will share my screen and just take you on a little journey in the back end. So let me just get out of that. Here we go. The control box is always in my way. Doesn't matter where I put it. All right, so let's click on that one. Okay, so essentially what the Backyard Peace Project is community. We're building a virtual community because in a time where we are the most connected that we've ever possibly been, we are also the most disconnected in the ways that count. And so it's really, really important that we can build a community where people feel welcomed, where people feel safe free from judgment, and they're actually able to access affordable and accessible care. And so it's a combination of pre-recorded content so that you can go and do, for example, a tapping session, EFT. You can do a tapping session on anxiety in real time. So if you wake up at 3 a.m. in the morning and you're having a panic attack, you can jump online and tap with Naomi in real time to alleviate that anxiety attack. There are obviously breathwork sessions. There are all sorts of masterclasses so that if you need support in that moment, you can access that. So that's really important to us. As you can see, there's different levels of membership. So you can come and join the Backyard Peace Project, and that will give you access at $22 a month. It will give you access to a whole library of masterclasses, courses, support sessions, and one live session with a panel of experts per week, and also different events that will be taking place. But if you want a more personalized journey, we've got what we're calling channels. So at the moment, we have the FIFO, which is Fly In, Fly Out, Wives, Partners and Parents channel. We're very passionate about that, the Backyard Peace Project. Number one, my family is a FIFO family, and I know firsthand the strains and the stresses. I'm raising 5 neurodiverse children. My husband's only home 12 weeks a year. So I understand the pressures and the complications that come with that lifestyle. And what we're seeing in FIFO families, a lot of pressure on the woman at home. Oftentimes it is the woman at home. There are still a lot of traditional roles out there, not always, because obviously there are women in FIFO industries for sure. But the general trend is that it's the wife that stays at home with the children and the man goes to the mines. There's a hell of a lot of pressure on the men in the mines. We're losing really good men to suicide because there's this stigma around accessing good quality support, of actually sharing how they're feeling. We as a family have lost friends to the stresses of that lifestyle. And of course, the kids as well can feel fractured from the family, from the father, from whichever parent is away. And we're seeing oftentimes marriage breakdowns and family fractures. And so we are the only place, to my knowledge, that are actually offering support to the whole family. So mining companies are very good at offering support to their employees, which is absolutely right. And I want my husband to be supported at work, but there's no one at the moment supporting the wives and the children. And so we're very excited to be doing that. In addition to that, we have the Strong Women Rising channel, where women are just wanting that next stage for themselves. And they've been, battered down by societal expectations, societal contracts that they never invited in the first place, etc., etc. So that's a beautiful place to come and really access your strength. Good Men Rising, that's something we're really, really passionate about, because men's mental health at the moment is on the decline massively, nationally and internationally. And there's been a lot of work online about calling out misogynistic, toxic behaviors in men. And I think that's right. I think that needs to stop, but there's no alternative to that. So where do my 3 sons look to get the role models to understand what good men are saying, what they're talking about, how they're communicating, how they're showing up? And also, I really feel like it's time for good men to come together and speak. Because I said to my husband the other day, it's not enough anymore to be a good man on the sidelines, just not doing the wrong thing. Like, we need advocates. We need people to step forward and show our young boys and show these young men what real masculinity looks like, what strength looks like, what communication looks like, what being a good partner looks like. So we're very, very passionate. We've got an amazing team behind Good Men Rising as well. And of course, we've also got the Kids Zone. I don't know why my thing isn't working, but there's the Kids Zone channel as well, where we're developing the leadership framework. So when you go to home and you go to learning, you start looking at all of the things that are open to you. So there's instantly things that we can be looking at. And of course, in the Backyard Peace Project, we believe that world peace begins in our own backyard. It begins with us. So there's places where, reclaim your true identity. That's a real deep dive. I've used that with executives, CEOs, leaders, thought leaders, transformational leaders who have spent so many years in service and been in service of others, they kind of lost themselves. And their first response when I say, how are you doing? What do you think about this? They attach it to the business, or they attach it to their service. And I'm like, no, I'm asking about you. How do you feel? What do you think? What are your hopes? What are your dreams? And oftentimes we attach it to something external. And so this is a really powerful course that we can do straight away in reclaiming our true identity away from the opinions and expectations of others. Because as Deirdre said, you get to a point in your life, you're like, how much time have I got left? Like, if I don't start living for myself now, and not in a selfish way, but I'm here to live my life. That's why I'm here. So that's a really important place to start. There's the expert profiles page, which I'll take you on so you can have a little look at who we've got behind the scenes, because we've got an amazing team of experts ready to serve everybody. Just letting it load up. And so you come down here and you've got all these different categories. So parenting, you click on parenting. And here we've got Lukwai, we've got Cathy, we've got Terry. And as I said, this is being finished in the next couple of weeks. So there's some more things to go in there. And we've got Mindset Matters. We've got our experts in there. We've got Money Matters, Wellness, Loving Yourself, Navigating Through Grief, The Power of Your Story. So there's all sorts of different categories. And each expert provides a live coaching session every month. And so the calendar is always full of activities and masterclasses that you can join up to. So that's really exciting. And those are the scheduled ones. And then there'll be surprise events where we're getting amazing guest speakers in and, dealing with all the different topics that we want to be talking about that people aren't talking about. Because one of the things that we tend to do on a Wednesday is have uncomfortable conversation and model what that looks like. Oftentimes it's me coming in going, this is how I messed up this week. Let's discuss, let's unpack it. I had one week where I was in a terrible state. Paul and I were the only ones on the call, and he actually coached me through. This is about being real and vulnerable. This isn't about us standing in this shiny space going, I've got all my ducks in a row. I don't know where my ducks are. I can't even get them in the same vicinity, let alone in the row. But we're all works in progress. And I feel like there's this message that there's this perfectionism that we're trying to achieve. There's this persona that we're trying to put onto the world. And I feel like the conversations we have are real and raw and vulnerable and going, yes, we've got these expertise. Yes, we've got this experience. Yes, we've got this, catalogue of success in our businesses. But we're also works in progress ourselves. Unless we can model that, nobody's got the bravery to stand forward and going, I'm really struggling in this area. I'm really struggling in that area. This part of my life's great. This part's a bit wonky. And until we can embrace the whole of ourselves, we're going to be living in the shadows. We're not going to be living to the truest, fullest potential of what we're here for. So that's what we're really passionate about in the Backyard Peace Project. Our mission is huge, absolutely huge. We're getting heaps and heaps of interest behind the scenes. We're making amazing partnerships and collaborations. I do feel like this is part of a solution for a world that's screaming out for more right now. Everyone feels scared. Everyone feels disillusioned. Everyone feels, there's a lot of people feeling a lot of hopelessness. And I feel like for us to come together in a connected, camaraderie way of going, it's okay, we're all going through something, it's okay to be going through something, let's come together and let's focus on the solution. And of course, in the Backyard Peace Project, as we grow, there will be more different sub-communities. So obviously LGBTQI plus is something that we're very passionate about, so that we'll develop that community. We're looking into developing a community for the survivors of domestic violence, because those are a group of people that really need support and access to really good support and community and sisterhood and bonds. And so as we evolve, it will be growing, but we're starting off with these core communities. And it is definitely a place where you can land to find like-minded people but it's also an opportunity to connect with people who are not like-minded and have the opportunity to develop and find those threads of connection between us. Because I do feel that there's this divide and rule approach to high leadership in a lot of countries at the moment. It's setting us against each other to distract from what's going on in the top, right? And if this is the time in humanity, which is the most important time for us to come together and look beyond our differences and look for the ways that we are connected. And so the Backyard Peace Project's an intention is to provide a community where we can get to know each other on another level, because we fear what we don't understand. So if we provide opportunities where we can talk about different lifestyles, talk about different choices, share, all of these differences, and then find out the ways that we are the same, I think that's really, really important. So I've given you a little bit of a tour, a little bit of a behind the scenes look of what's coming. Has anybody got any questions or anything that they'd like to add?
I just want my live button.
Yes. It will be there. I'll be there. I told them, and I'll follow that up today. But yes, no, it's going to be great.
It looks amazing. I really love the look of it. And I also can see how this platform is so much easier to handle than the one we had before. It all makes sense that you switched. It's all going to be so worth it, even though it was a hell of a lot of an experience. And time and effort and money involved. But I really can see how it's worth it. Like, I had a look around yesterday when I was trying to find the live button, and I'm like, what am I not seeing? This is ridiculous. But yeah, just looking around, it really is so much easier to find. And I also love that it is similar to a platform that we all quite used to. Like, it is quite similar to a Facebook platform with the live option and all these things. It's very simple and effectful, and I love how you designed it. It looks beautiful.
Thank you. And yeah, look, that was a big learning curve, and something I had to sit in a heap with for I was like, oh, this isn't working. And I invested so much in it, but it just wasn't working. And so I wanted to take longer to build the foundation stronger. And so, of course, we completely pivoted and we started rebuilding. There's no other thing we could do. We just had to rebuild. But now I'm really excited about launching this particular version of the platform, because I want to serve people to the absolute highest standard. I want them to have an amazing experience. And that's the real standard that we've set. And I do feel like we've reached that. So I'm very excited. I'm not saying we won't have teething problems, and we will have to, problem solve as we go and change things and streamline things for sure. But I feel confident that it's at a place that we can launch confidently. And, and I can launch it in integrity, knowing that people coming through it are going to find a really nice place to land. And that's what I'm really passionate about. So thank you for that, Marie. I appreciate that. You've been there from way before the beginning. So yeah, you've seen the whole iteration.
I would just like to add one thing, because like when we were at the beginning stages, the super, super early days, and it's not like a big confession here. I said that to you behind the scenes, but I'm more than happy to share that here as well. There were times at the beginning where I thought, I don't know what I'm actually offering to people. I don't know how to sell this, how to offer this, how to open the doors. Also with the money, although you kept saying it's just a piece of, a piece of cake and a coffee or whatever. And I still was like, and I'm just going to say it, I was still like, where we compare to Mind Valley then, like in terms of pricing and all of that, and that's already established. And why would people, there was doubt in the how to bring it across, but never the doubt in what it actually is, what we're building. So now I feel like I finally get it, because now it is built and it is ready, and I need to see it so I can really feel what I'm offering, what I'm talking about. This makes it so much easier, because what I also want to say here, and this is why I'm sharing this with everyone, is that we will really need to put the focus on the community that we're building, because all that, what you just showed us is amazing. But to me, that's the bonus. you know, the master classes, the being able to go somewhere at 3 o'clock in the morning and start the tapping process when I can't sleep, or the breath work or whatever. And having that community, I think that is what I have felt from the beginning, and what we have all felt when we came together in those Wednesday calls. And I think this is what I'm really most excited about, that people will feel and understand when they come, that it's not just a library where you can watch courses, but something where you are really seen as an individual and held, and you have the library and all of us and everything available to you, where you can just go like, I'm not coping with this, where can I find help? And I really love that. It's so much more than Mind Valley, really. I just love it, because that's what we started, you know, that's what we used as an explanation model basically at the beginning. But I am completely steering away from that now, because what we have is so different and so beautiful. So I just wanted to share that as well, in case anybody had similar doubts at the beginning stages, or was waiting or looking for something to explain it with. And I think the community aspect is the biggest one here.
Thanks so much, Marie. And I agree. Like, that is the whole point of this. And I think I wanted to make it gold standard. You know, I wanted there to be so much goodness in there for everybody that it would sort of cater for everybody. But absolutely, the community, it's a movement. The Backyard Peace Project is a movement of people who want more from life, want more from humanity, want more for their children, want more for their loved ones. And the reason that you know, our whole thing is world peace begins in our own backyard. It begins with how, as we all know in this room, begins with how we deal with conflict, how we deal with difficult conversations, how we deal with, you know, and I've just worked through something in my life, as you know, with people who live close to me, and I was completely floored by their attitude and approach. And I was like, wow, that's really hard, actually. I'm finding that really hard. But to be able to come in as enlightened, as educated, as experienced as I am, I still go through those moments where I'm like, this is really challenging. Like, I'm feeling a lot here. I need to work through this, right? And so to be able to come into a community and speak honestly about it, and not put on a front and go, I'm perfect. I'm so aligned, you know, I'm so evolved that I never have any negative emotion. That's not right. It's not true. You know, we have the negative emotions, but we learn processes and supports and community and connection to be able to navigate through that so much quicker and so much easier. And I think that's the point. I mean, it's like Nelson Mandela said, I'm not a saint, I'm a sinner who keeps trying. Right. So none of us are perfect. And I think that's the safety of the Backyard Peace Project, is that you don't have to come in and pretend. You can come in and say, I'm having a really hard day at the moment. At the same time, it's not a place to come and whinge and moan and complain and not take responsibility for anything either. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's a place to go, I've got this challenge and I'm solution focused in my conversation with you about it. Not, I just want to whinge and moan and I'm never going to change anything. Because at the end of the day, you know, as we all know in this room, our experiences are our responsibility. You know, because when I had this conflict with the neighbors, I'm like, how did I contribute to this? Do you know what I mean? How did I show up? How did I contribute to this? And my thing was boundaries. I should have asserted a lot more boundaries a lot quicker. But for harmony in the moment, I didn't think of long-term harmony. And I entered into that social contract with them 7 years ago. I was a very different person 7 years ago. So I've changed over time. And if I was to enter into that contract now, my boundaries would be solid from the start, because I'm a different person. But to be able to show up and be honest, to be real and go, yeah, I get it. I'm going through this. I'm going through that. I'm finding that really tough right now. You know, and I've brought things where I've said, you know, I had an incident with a family member and I went, I am not coping with this. I'm not coping with this at all. I'm being super triggered right now. But to be able to acknowledge that is so powerful. But a lot of people are frightened to do that. So I think the conversations that we have in this room are so important, because it gives other people permission to find the courage to actually communicate how they're feeling, which is the only way you can ever work towards any kind of solution. All right, I get off my high horse now. You know what I get like, woo, so passionate about it. But look, I'm really excited. Paul, you've unmuted. Did you want to say something?
Yeah, I was going back to when we're talking about community, how important it is. And I think the first up is how everything that you've aligned, excuse me, the people and the things and the different modalities within the space. The community starts with the practitioners who we've brought in together, and we've all grown together over the past couple of years. I think that's super, super important. But the experience that everybody has within that space is like, if there's people coming in into that community, one might not fit all of them, but all of them fit a lot of different spaces. So we all have so much experience and lived life, as well as simple tools that we can throw into the mix to help. And I think that's what's super important. And baseline in primal sort of spaces of community is support and nurture. And so we bring that in with some extra little bonus tools on top of that in life experience. The stories come from our experience in life. And I think that's where people connect on that level, because everyone goes into their own experience of life when someone's telling a story. And so within that space, it gives them that pick a path to choose which avenue to take on, which I think is super cool, super important. And this is where so many spaces now are opening up, or people are looking for somewhere to be a part of that, without all the fluff, without all the gurus and all the crap that's flying out there, and knowing that it's actually real. And I think that's the super important part of our Wednesday conversations, but also the help that people are offering within the platform. I think it's just super important, super powerful, and it's just going to help millions. I love it.
Yeah, thanks so much, Paul. And I think you're right. You know, we've catered for as much as we could possibly think of, so that we can, make everybody feel welcome. And you know what? The word that was coming up for me when you were talking was belonging. There's a desperate need for belonging right now. A belonging without a staunch label on it. Either we're left or we're right, or we're up or we're down, or we're this or we're that. It's time for us to come together, pool our resources, pool our experiences, draw on each other's strengths. Your strength doesn't make me weak. My strength is in a different area. Do you know what I mean? And we can together, and this is one of the other passions of mine of creating the Backyard Peace Project, is seeing all of these amazing people doing things separately from each other. But when we come together, like, that's so powerful. The potential for us working together in this space is huge. And we've got huge, huge visions for what we can do. Yeah, belonging and acceptance. Exactly, Judy, exactly. So we're really, really passionate. So I'm very, very proud of our team. Not everybody made it through, and not everybody was invited to stay. Let me just put it that way. So the standards for our experts are extremely high, because it's duty of care, because we need to make sure that when we're connecting professionals with vulnerable people, we know those professionals are living their truth, they're in integrity, they're participating in communication kindly and with compassion, and with respect. And so we do have very, very high standards here, because we want our community to be safe. We want them to be heard. We want them to feel like they can be vulnerable. And so that's really important to us. So look, thank you guys so much for coming. Watch this space over the next few weeks. Please hijack all of my posts off my page and share them to your pages, and personalize them for you, because we're really starting to spread the word now, ready for that opening of doors on July the 1st. So it's been a labor of passion by all of us. We've all stuck in. We've all laid these amazing foundations. I'm so, so honored to have all of you as part of the team. What we're doing is incredible. I'm so excited about the future. I'm so excited for July the 1st. It energetically feels right for me. Marie immediately confirmed that it was a great date. It was significant in her life. So that felt like confirmation from the universe. So it's amazing. So thank you so much. Thanks for joining, and we will see you very soon.